welcome to Brockton to Beacon Hill. I am super excited about our show today because I have some amazing students here from Assess, and we're going to be learning all about it. So we're going to learn it together because I don't really know that much, but I had a great experience, and we'll talk about our great experience because I don't want to jump ahead. But first, we'll start by introductions so the audience, people will know who is joining us here in the studio today. So let's start with Quentin. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, my name's Quentin. I attend Tufts University and I study computer science. So I've been with Assess for 2 years now, and so I'm just really excited to introduce Assess to you, and yeah.
Welcome. And we have Jaden.
Hi, my name is Jaden. I'm a junior at MIT studying computer science and economics. And I've been a part of Assess for around 1.5 years. And yeah, I'm just super excited to continue volunteering and share Assess so that more people can join. It's been amazing.
Oh, fantastic. Naz?
Hi, I'm Naz. I have been a part of Assess for about a year now. And right now I'm a senior at Harvard University. And I'm really, really excited to continue to volunteer and be a part of all the amazing work we're doing.
And Jacob.
Yes, so I'm Jacob. I'm actually going to MIT for mechanical engineering and sustainable development. And I've been a part of Assess for about 1.5 years. And I've acted as both a volunteer, but also a videographer for the chapter in Cambridge. So I'm really excited that we have the opportunity to share about Assess not only to you, but also those listening onto the podcast. So.
I'm excited for today's show. So, Quentin, you have a presentation for us that will explain a little bit more about Assess and all the amazing things that you guys been doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're here. So yeah, just to introduce really quickly who we are, some of the campaigns we're doing, and then some of kind of the ways we implement our goals. So. We're part of Assess. So Assess stands for Save the Earth from A to Z. So we're a university student volunteer group associated with the World Mission Society Church of God. So kind of the goals with Assess, we're trying to make our world safe, sustainable, inclusive, and resilient. That's kind of our dream. And so what we mean by that is through SAFE is creating a safe world through crime reduction activities, a sustainable world through climate change activities, inclusive world through community service, and then make a more resilient world through disaster relief efforts. And so the way we kind of implement these goals is through 3 strategies. So first is knowledge. So the most important thing is raising awareness to the problem itself, because if many people don't know that a problem exists, then they're not going to have the drive to try to solve that problem. And then 2 is action. So with knowledge and with that drive, then we can actually start making actual change. So not just saying, okay, I want the world to be a better place, but now making tangible steps to make it a better place. And then 3rd, and maybe the most important, is the cooperation part. That means working with state representatives like yourself, or just leaders in the community itself, just to figure out what the problems they have and how we can best help them. And also creating like a global network, so we can all kind of help each other. So our big for making a safer world, what we have a campaign called the Crime Reduction, Reduce Crime Together campaign. And so the idea behind it is that if we create crime-free schools, that will lead to a crime-free society and then a crime-free world. So we have what's called Reduce Crime Together education program, in which we will like go into elementary schools or middle schools, even universities. And it's kind of more like a character change program, kind of raising awareness of the problem and also kind of informing kids how they can be positive role models and influences in their communities to help reduce crime. Then also we have a crime prevention through environmental design. So we kind of work with what's called the broken windows theory, which we'll talk a little bit more about later on. But essentially the idea is if we create communities that are more beautiful, then less crime actually happens in those areas. So we don't need to worry about increasing law enforcement or increasing punishment with crimes, but if we just make our communities literally just look nicer, then there'll be less crime. And so these just come with some statistics of some of the forums we've had, just some numbers. So just, for example, we've had 43 seminars in 43 countries. We've had 71 seminars with over 9,000 participants. Next. And so this is the big one we're doing here in the Boston area is our climate change activities. So our idea is as a goal, like a planet to reach carbon neutrality by the year 2050. And the way we do that is through protecting terrestrial ecosystems, which are known as like green carbon zones. Pretty much there's like just forests that are like sinks for carbon. And then also protection of marine ecosystems through which we call blue carbon zones, which is actually, we can talk a little about that a little later on as well. Because people don't know like how much those, people think, okay, I want to create reach net neutrality, reduce carbon. People think, let's take gas vehicles off the road and put electric vehicles. And that's good, that will help, but actually the best way is through conserving and then restoring these ecosystems that are damaged. So with CES Green Carbon, that's something we've been carrying out here in Cambridge and also in the Brockton area.
Yeah.
And so the idea is that if we remove invasive species and we start planting native species, as well as kind of garbage cleanups, we can preserve and restore these forests. And then they act as a carbon sink. And they can, I think the number is like 11 trillion metric tons or billion metric tons of CO2 they absorb. And so by protecting these areas is really important to helping us reach carbon neutrality. And then we also have seminars as well, where we, again, go into middle schools or high schools, universities, and just kind of raise awareness of the issue. Because people don't know how their small efforts can make like really big impacts. So when people feel like their small efforts make an impact, they're more willing to participate in cleanups and things like that. And then on the more marine side of that is says blue carbon. And so our goal for that is to create actually like a blue carbon week, like an international blue carbon week, which would be this first week of June, which includes World Environment Day and also World Oceans Day, to create this blue carbon week where we carry out marine ecosystem cleanups and blue carbon awareness campaigns every year. And then also, again, going into schools, educating students why this is important, how they can contribute. So this is stuff we've done, again, all throughout the world, and how they can make an impact. And this is just some of the activities we've carried out. And again, some more statistics, like, for example, we've done just blue carbon cleanups, so just marine cleanups, and we've in 12 different countries, over 47 times, and with over 5,600 participants. Then to make a more inclusive world, that we focus on the community service. So we call this like the Cheer Up campaign. So it started during around COVID time, because what people don't really know is that actually the amount of depression, especially in universities, is higher now than it's ever been. I think it's like 1 in 8 university students suffer from severe depression, which is higher than it's ever been, ever. And so that didn't help with COVID, it made the problem worse. So with our Cheer Up campaign, our hope is to kind of bring joy a little bit to the world, or to show people that they're appreciated. So one thing we did was a cheering rally during COVID, where we delivered in more than 100 regions in 11 different countries. We delivered, whether it was handwritten letters or just maybe medical supplies, to the first responders and the law enforcement who were required to work even though there was a pandemic raging across the whole planet. They're putting their lives at risk. And so just showing that we appreciate what they're doing and just a little bit of gratitude, it just kind of helps them get away from the kind of gloomy world they were living in for 2 years. And this is just some more photos of events we've carried out throughout the world. We also did assess concerts, so kind of we have students who participate in an orchestra and choir. This was something we did in Manhattan in 2019. This Assess Peace concert, where just a way, again, raising awareness. And we did something similar in Peru to kind of acknowledge the firefighters that were working over there. And then we also have a Leave No One Behind campaign, in which we also just help give supplies to more underprivileged areas of our world. And then finally, disaster relief, to make a more resilient world. So we live in a world where disasters are becoming more frequent and a lot more powerful. It seems like you can't turn on the news without seeing some forest fire destroying some part of the world, or some hurricane that just happened in Texas last week. And so we're trying to create a global network, and we already kind of are establishing one now in over 175 different countries for disaster relief. And so this disaster relief activities began in 2015 in Nepal. There was a massive earthquake, and so we had volunteers there that were helping restore that community. And so just again, some more events we've done throughout the world. We're building schools, recovery efforts for wildfires in South Africa, snow removal here in the US, things of that nature. And then even last year, we created the SES Disaster Relief Team. So this was just to train people how they can to kind of become like first responders in a little bit in a way. So a lot of people, they're in these situations where these disasters are happening, but maybe someone's life is at risk, but we don't know how to take care of them. Right? I don't know how to perform first aid. I don't know things of that nature, CPR. And so this is a way of kind of like educating people of how they can, these small things we can learn that can potentially save a life if needed, right? And so we're active in 175 countries around the world. We have these global forums every few years. So this is one we did in 2019. We had a quantum leap for change towards zero crime. So this was different chapters around the world that were working with the Reduce Crime Together campaign. They came together and just discussed ways that they were implementing that, trying to reduce crime, things that were working, things that weren't working. Because usually if there's a problem here, someone else already has that problem too. So just working with our different chapters throughout the world, seeing how they're doing things over there, and then just kind of collaborating like that. And then we did, next. And then we did something last year. We actually had someone from Tufts go to Korea for this forum for sustainability. So he was kind of representing us, where he was talking about just the activities we were carrying out here and what was working, what wasn't working, and then just collaborating with different chapters from around the world. And so, so these are some people that we've worked with throughout the world. So we've even connected with the President of Brazil, the Vice President of Guatemala, President of Paraguay, the First Lady of Peru. Just kind of show like the amount of outreach we've really had. We met with over 1,800 local governments, signed 154 MOUs, and not just us but also just people from our communities. We've had over 65,000 people support our movement. And then we've been having our own advisory committee, which has 190 members from 20 different countries as of 2023. So this is, even these slides are like 6 months old. Like there's a lot more activities and people we've met with since then. And then over 800 media reports, and then over like 400 awards. So, and this is just some of the awards we've received is the UNCCD Executive Secretary Award, and then also we've even received awards from the United States government, the US President's Gold Volunteer Award, and then also the Green Apple Award and the Green World Gold Award. So, thank you for just, again, thank you for having us on and sharing this with you and all the listeners.
It's so much great information, and I feel like we don't hear so much about all the amazing things. So just going through and the magnitude of it, it's so much bigger than we can possibly ever imagine. And it's so much needed in today's age and times. Like you talked about Brazil, the biggest flood in the south, that people just lost their homes. It's like the biggest in the country. So they're really going through that huge disaster, and it all really takes up each one of us really doing our part and understanding the infrastructure and how we can really help the communities in other countries to really make sure that we prevent these things from keep on happening, because it just keeps on being more and more constant. Something that way back when, maybe it just happened once in a blue moon, a disaster really happened. Now, like you said, every time when you turn on the news, there's someplace, somewhere, a disaster or something is happening. So it's really a wake-up call for each one of us to be saying, what can I do, my part? Not expecting from the government, not expecting from the politicians, not expecting from, it's other people's problem. They'll take care of it, they'll deal with it, but what can I do in my house, in my home, and educating my kids and my family, and just being more mindful. What can we be doing on a daily basis to really make the impact and it'll grow. So thank you for that presentation. That was amazing. And we have Naz that can talk a little bit more in detail regarding the green carbon. Yes. And expand a little bit more on that.
Yeah. So the main goal of our green carbon campaign is to essentially reach carbon neutrality. And a big way that we can do that is through truly trying to preserve the green spaces that we already have. And we were able to get involved in that recently with a tree planting that we had in Everett, Massachusetts, right by the Mystic River. So we were able to plant like 100 trees and truly a very, very diverse crop of trees to truly like rebuild the natural, diverse ecosystems that used to be there a long time ago. And then you were also able to get involved at DW Park. We were able to collect with the volunteers like over 100 pounds of waste that was in the area, And truly by like preserving, even these are just two examples of things that we did in the New England area, but by preserving like our green spaces here and all around the world, we can truly try to essentially sequester more and more and more of the carbon through existing infrastructure that's already on this planet, so that we can truly start marching towards our goal.
Thank you. And the D.W. Fields Park is like one of my favorite places. I walk there with my husband on, it used to be daily, but now I'll confess it's like on a weekly basis we try, especially when the weather is nice. And some days my husband just like pick up a trash bag and just start collecting the trash that we see around, and it really adds up so quickly. And then other people end up volunteering. They're like, oh, do you need another bag? And it really grows from there. So it's just us taking care of our own environment, because it's such a precious, beautiful place. And if we don't take care of it, then what becomes? So thank you for all the amazing work. That was so beautiful, so amazing. We had so many people. The weather wasn't that great that day because it was raining, but not raining. The rain held up a little bit. It was a bit challenging, but just that commitment and that determination. And then on Arbor Day, we always plant a tree in Brockton, and we offer if people wanted to take a tree and then plant it. We encourage that. And I think more people in our community, especially communities like in Brockton, should really take that effort and start planting more trees, because it really helps us with the shade and the environment and the air. So those are the goals that we really need to be educating and talking more about it, to let the community know what's available. If we can get them free trees and they can plant it, and if we just keep it coming, it will make a difference in the future. And that's what it is. We're so used to the here and now. Everything needs to be happening on that drive-through fast pace, that just planting for the future and just planting that seed and just taking care of the environment, and maybe not seeing the fruits and results of your labor right there and then, but just knowing that the future generations, they'll reap from it. So it needs to start from us. We're already way behind, so. And Jacob, you wanted to elaborate on blue carbon?
Yeah. So as you heard from Nas, we have the green carbon campaign. We also have like a parallel blue carbon campaign where we focus more on restoring aquatic ecosystems. So aquatic ecosystems right now, they kind of are in danger because of like the certain things that are happening in this world, like global warming, and also just people not taking care of the community, just like littering and putting many different things in the water. And so what we try to do is restore those, because they are very important as like carbon sinks. Like many people think, oh, we should plant just a tree, right? A tree absorbs a lot of carbon. But if you think about the amount of like CO2 that is absorbed by like even like mangroves or salt marshes or different like even like seagrass. Many people don't even think like seagrass, it absorbs so much like CO2. And so if we're not taking care of the aquatic ecosystems as well, then we're actually missing out on a massive opportunity to sequester a lot of the pollutants that are produced nowadays by cars and buildings and different factories in a very like simple way actually. So what we've actually done for in the past, recent history, we were able to carry out 2 different cleanups. One was by the Charles River, where we were able to pick up 25 pounds of trash. And one was in Salem, Massachusetts by, I think it's called Salem Mills Park. And volunteers were able to pick up 250 pounds of trash, which if you think about it, 275 pounds of trash, it doesn't seem like much. But if that all goes into the ocean, then you're like, wait, that could like harm the ecosystem that's there. So through these efforts, like it's so big that like even just simply picking up a random piece of like paper or like a wrapper, it's able to reduce the amount of effect that it has on blue ecosystems. And so not only have we done like things in Massachusetts, but also like across the Northeast and kind of like from Maine to I guess like around Washington, D.C., we've been trying to carry out events and establish what's called a blue carbon belt. Essentially, like showing like our activities that we're doing across the Northeast, and like allowing people to understand the importance of protecting our aquatic ecosystem. So that's a lot of like what the blue carbon movement is about.
And the interesting thing about the water, it doesn't have a border or a wall, or I'll just take care of my side here. And then it's really connects all of us, and it just goes global. So that magnitude is much bigger than we can possibly think. And then when you see like a fish that is dead in the water, like there's something wrong, or maybe the turtles is eating plastic, or some issues that, so when stuff like that start happening, then it's really, we see that it's just really that wake up call that we're all connected through the water. It's so important that we need to preserve it. And Jaden, cheer up.
Yeah. So yeah, the Cheer Up campaign, as Quentin mentioned earlier, basically, especially now in modern times, like many people feel like feelings of anxiety or depression, especially in recent times with COVID that happened. That was a very, very dark period for a lot of people. But that's why ASES tried to solve that problem. So what we tried to do during this time was, during the height of the pandemic, we tried to help with those kind of feelings of anxiety by giving care packages to different groups. So around the world, we made custom care packages with like masks, some like a hand sanitizer, also like fruits and snacks and things of that nature to some of the people who needed it most, which were the medical care providers, some of these nurses and doctors who were like on the front lines. But specifically in the Boston area, we did the same thing, except we focused more on the educators actually. So like teachers of like middle and high schools, because when COVID occurred, they also were severely impacted. Like their stress levels must have increased quite a lot. So then we came together, made different care packages with fruits to like kind of show them that we know that they're there, we know that this is a difficult time for them and for their students. So then we just gifted them. And when someone recognizes like the struggles that you're going through and the feelings that you have, it actually makes a really massive impact on like your emotion, like how you feel like on a day-to-day basis, and gives you like hope for the future and more motivation to continue on and do your best. And so that's why we make the effort to do like such things, even though it takes a lot of like manual time to come together and make a care package and manually make masks and things of that nature. In the end, it's really worth it, especially when you get to see the testimonies from these very people, like they're real people that are being impacted. And so that's why we saw it as super valuable. And so in addition to the Cheer Up campaign, actually, we had the Reduce Crime Together campaign as well, which I think is one of my favorite campaigns that ASES does, because many people, when they think about the problem of reducing crime, like what place wants to have crime? No one. But then in order to solve this problem, many people think, oh, well, we should just increase policing, right? But as Quentin mentioned earlier, that's not the only way to reduce crime. Actually, in some cases, when you increase policing, it increases crime rates. But actually, another way that you can reduce crime is through cleaning up areas. So as he mentioned earlier, there's something called the broken window theory that was talked about in the 1980s, where places that had higher rates of broken windows, graffiti, and just more litter, they had higher crime rates. So that at the time it was a theory, but then in the 1990s, New York City actually tried to test this theory and put a lot of effort into cleaning up the various areas that had high crime rates. And when they did this, over a 10-year period, they saw a 50% reduction in overall crime. So massive change. And that's just from, cleaning up, making efforts to clean the parks. Because not only does it reduce crime, but it also uplifts people's mood. And when you clean up these areas, it's not just like, oh, you clean it up, but then it's gonna get dirty again, like immediately. Because there's also like a psychological effect that takes place. When an area is clean, people are less likely to litter. They're more likely to take care of it because it's already clean. But when a place is dirty or has graffiti, it seems like less quality. People care less about, people care less about preserving it. So then that's why we make effort to do cleanups in parks and areas and graffiti removal in these kinds of areas. So in Boston specifically, in around Huntington Avenue, which is near Northeastern and Boston University, we did a cleanup where we were able to clean up a local area and a local park, and it was actually like really, really good. And it was really fun, and the members of the community really appreciated it because that's the same parks that they go through every day, and you know, it helps reduce crime. And so that's a bit about the Reduce Crime Together campaign. And
It's so impressive when what you're saying, because if there's a lot of crimes in the area, the mindset, oh, we'll just need to increase, security, and then the policing, and you want to make the law tougher because you want to put. And it's like, no, you come with a different mindset. Let's take care of our surroundings. Let's take care of our community. Let's take care of our environment, the places where we call home, and make it clean, make it beautiful, make it nice. And just by that perspective, just by seeing like how beautiful now it looks, and that people actually care enough to be clean and to keep it that way, that crimes reduce. So that is an interesting, I like that. And just being able to show and prove it by the numbers, it makes it us all seeing that we all put in our own effort in our own part, and you clean our sidewalk, we clean our areas, then that really adds up in our neighborhoods and our communities. And we do have that here in Brockton. We have a Brockton Beautiful Day where we just pick an area in the city where we want to clean, and we grab a bunch of volunteers. We just go out and clean up the city. But unfortunately, we do it once a year, so we got to do it more often and constant. And there's always volunteers and people that on their own just decide to go and clean up the city and the parks and the areas. And we should just encourage that and have more volunteers and people, and just explain how that would really tremendously help, even with the crime rates in our city. So Quentin, why is 2024 so special? Close us and tell us why is this year so great? And
Yep. So this year is so special because this is the 10th year since ASES was created. So, and through the presentation, all these thousands of hours and hundreds of events that we've done globally, all the people we've met and collaborated with, that's all been in a 10-year span, which is kind of crazy when you think about that. Like such a short amount of time, how much change can really happen, right? So we really believe in the power of that momentum. Because like you said yourself, you're walking down the park and your husband will pick up a bag of trash, and then all of a sudden everyone around him is like, oh, let me help, right? So really through working together, we can provide what is essentially an outlet for other people to join in too. Because that's really what ASES is. It's trying to create a group of dedicated, like a reliable source of dedicated individuals who really want to help their communities. I would love it to be the case where you think, this park's really dirty, but maybe ASES will help, and then you can reach out to us and we'll be there, right? Because for us, it's kind of like a twofold benefit. Yes, we get to see our communities improve and become cleaner and safer places. It's better for us, better for our families, better for the future. But also from the more spiritual side of things, it's also following the example that Christ gave us, right? So ASES was created through members of the World Mission Society Church of God, who just students that wanted to actively participate and follow the example of Christ, right? So when you really look at the Bible, really God gave us eternal life through the Passover. And so by following the example of God the Father, following the example of God the Mother who's in the Bible, we can really not only become better people, have a better future, but also follow the teachings of God. So this is why ASES is so special to me. And I think I speak for all of us when I say that as well. And so just really being able to come here and share this message with people that are listening, to share it with you, and hopefully really collaborate and really create something really special here in Boston and the Boston area in the future.
this is so amazing. I've had so much fun. I think we learned so much about ASES today. We had a citation that we presented, my office, to ASES for the cleaning up at the DW Fields Park. DW is in my district, so it's been a goal for me to really strategies and how can you make that community around the park and bring people together, and making sure that we create these volunteers opportunities so we can make sure we're always cleaning up and just really taking care of what we have and what God has given us, which is nature and people, places for green space for communities and kids to come and enjoy. and to spend a Sunday afternoon without having to spend money and pay for it. It's been given for us for free. All we have to do is just really take care of it, make it look beautiful and nature, and it's all there for us to enjoy it. And it'll help us with our mental health. It'll help us with our physical. It helps our entire body, and it's just that combinations of all things. So this has been a wonderful conversation. I really want to thank each and every one of you for coming here today and for believing in Brockton, for investing your time and opportunities here in Brockton. We really need it, but now we really need to encourage more students and more people to really join the club, like join the team, like join us. Like what can we continue to do to make sure that this is not just a one-time event, but we can bring people together and spread the word and go to our schools and teach our kids from early on to take care of their environment and their nature and how important it is. So this conversation, let this not be the last one, but it's just like the first of many more and many more events, and anything that you guys need, just know that I'm here and our office is here. And really thank you for this opportunity. It's been amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. So this is, I hope you all enjoy it, Brockton to Beacon Hill with here with the Assess team, and there's a whole bunch of amazing people behind the scenes that are making this show possible today. And we're here with Quentin, Jaden, Naz, and Jacob. Thank you for being here.
Assess. Wow! Go cheer me out.
Thank you.
That's a nice way to end it. Thank you. This was awesome.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, bye.
Bye.